Almost 100 years ago, when Ohio and Illinois were considered west, and when covered wagons moved slowly across the plains behind the only power that was available, two young men formed a partnership that was eventually to become Allis-Chalmers, America's house of power. On the west shore of Lake Michigan, in a tiny settlement called Milwaukee, they established a small factory. Their only capital consisted of confidence in themselves and unbounded faith in the future possibilities of this great territory. Their first venture in manufacturing was the making of millstones to grind the grist for the rapidly growing farm communities. In the majority of cases, the millstones were driven by water power. As settlement grew, demand increased, and soon the firm added the more efficient turbine type of water wheel. But demand continued to grow. Finally, complete flour mills were produced. Today, more than 90% of flour and cereals in America are processed on Allis-Chalmers equipment. The house of power feeds the nation. As civilization moved farther and farther west, water power was not always available. So Allis-Chalmers began making steam engines to satisfy the ever-increasing demands of a nation that needed power for progress. The steam engine, too, went through a period of growing pains. Its final development, the high-pressure turbine of today, is the last word in economical power for industry. At Allis-Chalmers' great plants, turbines are built in sizes up to 135,000 horsepower. Here's what engineering development and skill have done to the old water wheel. This 260-ton casing is headed for one of the 115,000 horsepower wheels at Boulder Dam. It would take 24,000 of the old overshots to produce as much power as this. The inner circle of the casing carries the wheel. Here it's being machined on a 40-foot boring mill, the largest of its kind in existence. At this stage, the shell contains no machinery. Later, the water wheel will be placed inside and a huge generator added on top. An idea of the enormity of this casing is given by the tractor at the side. Along with milling machinery and water turbines, gas engines grew up. They've been a vital part of Allis-Chalmers' main plant production for years. This single cylinder of a 10,000 horsepower unit burns the waste gas from a steel mill, supplying a good share of the mill's power. Again, the contrast in size is striking. From gas engines, the house of power moves smoothly to electrical power units. Electrical equipment of all sizes and description now make up a large part of this organization. Pumps, turbines, generators, motors, switchgear, transformers, mining and crushing machinery. All these and more are manufactured at these plants. Power for every purpose is the AC slogan, and no truer phrase was ever written. Directly or indirectly, machinery bearing the Allis-Chalmers name contributes daily to the health and well-being of practically every American citizen, at home and abroad. Power for every purpose just had to include power for the farm, the biggest factory on earth. More power is consumed in farming than in any other industry. From millstones to farm tractors may sound like a long jump, but actually they aren't so far removed. And the great plants of Allis-Chalmers have room for both. This busy scene was photographed at the wheel tractor plant at West Allis. The famous all-crop harvesters are built at LaPorte, Indiana. La Crosse, Wisconsin harbors a large AC implement plant, and the track-type tractors are made at Springfield, Illinois. Since
A new era in dirt moving has been born. It is an era of progress spurred on by the public demand for more convenience, more comfort, more speed, more safety in the pursuit of their daily occupations. With the increase in motor car speeds and the increasing number of such vehicles on the highways, roads had to be built to new standards. Right-of-ways needed widening. Entire mountains were removed to reduce grades, and curves were broadened and straightened. Air travel has shown a tremendous increase, requiring the construction of larger and better airports to handle this increased traffic. Rural electrification, irrigation, and increased power demands have resulted in the construction of huge dams, reservoirs, and canals involving undreamed of quantities of earth moving. Throughout the country, earth is on the move. The problems involved are many, but modern engineering and alert, smart earth movers have joined hands to solve their problems through new machines and newer methods. Outstanding among the newer methods of handling larger volumes of dirt is the tractor scraper method. Fast-traveling tractors and suitable cable or hydraulic scrapers have been used extensively for the past 5 years. Large volumes of dirt are scooped up, hauled away, dumped and spread where desired with equipment of this type. The construction of one of the many fine Illinois highways is being handled by this method. Here, HD-14 two-cycle diesel tractors are pulling 15-yard Garwood scrapers in tough loading clay. The tractors operate in low gear while loading and shift into high for hauling. Traveling at 7 miles per hour shortens the time from cut to fill and makes longer hauls profitable. On this job, the haul varied from 700 feet to a maximum of 1,800 feet one way, and both hauls were handled profitably by the contractor. Dirt is dumped on the run and spread into about 6-inch lifts on the fill with no time lost for turning or maneuvering. However, even the capacity of this equipment is increased through pusher operation, which makes much longer hauling distances practical and profitable. Here, a 20-yard Garwood scraper is being loaded by 2 HD-14 tractors. The advantage of this method lies in the fact that a tractor can haul a larger scraper than it can load by itself. So, it becomes more profitable to use as big a scraper as the tractor can haul, then use an extra tractor to help load. Tractors have also undergone radical changes. On a scraper job, 80% of the time is consumed in hauling, dumping, and turning, which make higher travel speeds more desirable. The speeds on this HD-14 range up to 7 miles per hour. Powered by a two-cycle diesel engine, this powerful tractor dumps its load clean and fast without stopping to shift to a lower gear. Speed and power on the fill saves valuable time and cuts operating costs considerably below the underpowered machine.